welcome back. So I'm pretty excited to cast this game today, and the reason why is because this is actually a tournament map. It's from the Wandering Squires Cup, which is a play on the Wandering Warriors Cup. And this map is going to be Compass, and we have Big D 12 Plus versus Fast Bear. Big D 12 Plus, from what I've heard, D stands for devotion to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. 12 is the age that he made the commitment. And so big devotion to Jesus Christ since 12 years old and going. So yeah, great name there. And Fast Bear, well, he ran away from a bear once and was extremely fast. The bear was extremely fast, and so he lost a couple of legs, but he still has all his hands and fingers, so he can play with us today. I'm just kidding. I have no idea. But anyway, Fast Bear is playing as the Byzantines. He's from the United States. His ELO or her ELO, depending on what they are, is 1,000, 1,100-ish. And Big D 12 Plus is also from the United States and of a similar ELO. And this is from round 2 of the Wandering Squires Cup, game 2. And it's the opponent's, it's the Fast Bear's choice of map. Big D 12 Plus sent this match in. So, pretty excited. I've actually never played this map. It is a custom map, but the features are all standard. The starting age, the ending age, it's not regicide or anything like that. And the pop is 200. So you start off with a transport ship and on these 2 little islands here. And you have to migrate. I mean, obviously, if you want to, you could build your town center there, but that's not probably the best idea. There's only three trees on each island. So players are going to migrate to one of these 4 mainlands and kind of like a nomad start, get your TC up somewhere close to resources. Players usually opt for a good wood line so they can get fishing ships up because you want to get some of this free fish. There's a lot of fish on this map. And both players are doing just that. And then scouting around with your transport ship as well. You're looking for, enemy docks and any free herdables that you can pick up as well. And going to Fast Bears, yeah, he's done a pretty decent job exploring, actually. Has a herdable coming down here and is exploring as well. Can see where Red's dock is at. Both players' docks are relatively close together. Blue with 3 fishing ships and red with 2. And the villager count is in Blue's favor as well, 14 to 11. I wonder if that's counting in fishing ships. I don't think so. Is it? Maybe it is. I think originally they didn't used to count fishing ships in the villager count, but I only see 9 villagers here, and the count is much higher than that. So I'm assuming 10, yeah, in the fishing ships. So it is counting the fishing ships. All right, so yeah. But he's catching up, 16 to 15 here between the different ships. And it looks like Blue is actually trying to cause a little bit of extra idle eco time by putting his transport ship between the red fishing ships and the dock. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but it is adding a teensy little bit of extra time there. It's kind of funny to see. Quite a few pigs here for red. And Blue getting housed. That's always annoying. Is he going to respond? Okay, he did get a house up. Okay. And already coming over as well to explore this other island. Who dominates on the other islands as well is pretty important. And interesting that the island that Blue is on is mostly desertish. I mean, ultimately, the resources are the same, but it's just mostly desertish. And then the upper one has got a ring of desert-looking terrain around it, whereas the 2 miniature islands to either side, either flank, are quite green and lush. boar here as well. Looks like, yeah, elephant. Each island is going to have some wild zebras, some herdables, some berries in multiple spots, and then some boar or elephant as well. So if you have your transport ship going around trying to get some extra herdables, that's good. Eventually, at some point, maybe get a stable once you hit feudal and try and collect anything else that might be out there and just kind of scout out where your opponent's stuff is at. The score is pretty neck and neck. Red slightly in the lead, but villager count wise, blue has maintained it almost the entire time, probably the entire time so far, 26 to 22. So that's already a pretty big deal and pretty peaceful start to this. Not a whole lot going on just yet. It looks like red wants to get a house of sorts to prevent blue from getting in over here. And he spots that dock over there as well. So he knows that blue is going really heavy on fish. 2 docks compared to red's just 1 dock. And that is walled up over here. Red going early on gold. Kind of interesting choice to go on gold as poles. You will collect gold faster than collecting stone, and which also collects gold, but it's so nice to have the stone being collected. That way you can go ahead and drop a castle if you need to, or additional town centers, whatever the case might be. But he is on gold instead of stone, so that's an interesting move there. And blue actually coming out here to collect even zebras as well. And here comes some fire ships. So typically on maps with water control, the opening play is to start with fire ships. You might transition into galleons later on, but right now, just fire ships. And it looks like red's actually trying to distract blue's fire ships with his transport ship. Actually looked like it may have worked. Kept his fire ship alive for a little bit. Both these fire ships are pretty well damaged though. And now red's fishing economy is under attack. Whether or not he's going to give up on water control or will fight back, we're going to have to see. Blue has 3 ships out and is absolutely wrecking 4 ships out. Is wrecking red's fishing ships. Red is attempting to repair this fire ship. Does get 2 more additional fire ships out, so now he has 3. And getting some kills on blue here. This is actually really good for red. Blue trying to regroup and repair that fire ship. We'll send this one over in for repair now. You have to micro away the weak fire ships if you want to keep them alive. And actually this is turning out to be favoring blue again. The villager count and fishing ship count is 37 to 30 in blue's favor. 1 demo would actually be great right here. These ships are so close together. If he could get a demo out. What is he building here? He's got a galley queued up, but now is getting a demolition raft. I wonder if the galley was a misclick. Usually galleys are not the choice for against fire ships. You definitely want to get demolition rafts, and this could be a big shot on these fire ships. Oh, is he going to space them out? He's sending this one up here to yes. He's afraid that the demo is going to come out here and take him out, so he spaced him out. Oh man, if that demo had come out just a little bit sooner, he could have got a big hit on 3 of the ships. Now he's up here harassing these fishing ships as well. Oh man, this is not looking too good for red, especially on water. Idle villager over here. Some house walls that need to be built but aren't built yet. And there's the galley. As you can tell, the galley is not very helpful versus fire ships, especially in low numbers. You need to have a ball of them and need to hit and run on the fire ships. And it looks like red is, yeah, thinking about trying to get a castle, but blue is already 60% of the way to castle. Those additional fishing ships coming in clutch on getting that extra food income. Still collecting some herdables as well. Some of these lumber camps leave a lot to be desired, well, or the lack thereof of lumber camps. Coming over here to collect berries. I'm hoping that was a misclick or a villager just doing it on their own, because that is a long walk there. Might be worth just dropping an additional mill. And up here, it looks like Red has just given up on water. He doesn't have any fishing ships left, doesn't have a transport, doesn't have any military ships at all, and this is his last dock. So what does that mean? Well, it means that Poles are going to do what Poles do best. They're going to build folkworks, and they're going to build farms, and they're going to boom. And they're going to see if that's going to be enough whenever you give up on water control. Because if you go back to Blue's perspective, he doesn't have a single farm out. He's kind of short on wood too. So if he wanted to get farms out, he would need to transition more to wood. And he has a second TC going up over here, which is great. And actually, looks like he wants to get in over here. Almost destroyed that house. And if you have fishing ships that are doing, or not fishing ships, fire galleys that are doing nothing else, you might as well have them attempt to house your opponent. And I do like the fact that Blue took control of the water. Not only does he have all that free fish, but it also will alert him in case Red decides to make a run for any other part of the map, because he has him restricted to these two walkways. He has no dock, so he has no way to get off this island. Second TC is up, adding in archery range. Playing as the Byzantines, they do get some cheaper units, skirmishers, pikemen, and camel riders, and halberdiers as well. And Red did make the swap to stone. I'm happy to see that. Like I said, you might as well collect stone as poles and just get the stone upgrades first. Then after you've used up all the stone you can get, or you've built enough castles and you just need stone faster, that's whenever, or gold faster, that's when you should start transitioning to gold and the gold upgrades, in my opinion. The fish is starting to die out for Blue. There's a few more over here, but it's getting further and further away from the dock. So while it is saving you wood, not having to build farms, is becoming very inefficient. And Blue is getting wheelbarrow here, so maybe he'll start adding some farms in here soon. Still, so far, is only on wood and gold, villager-wise. And now is adding mining camp on some stone. And Red opting to do some stone walling. Really doesn't want Red being able to get in just anywhere. And here's the first castle up over here. So it would not surprise me to see the Schlata technology coming in for the poles that makes the knights so much cheaper. And Blue actually sneaking in some villagers over here. I'm wondering if Red's going to see that. Does not see that yet. And Blue dropping in archery range. No military units. He has military units coming across here, but he's dropping an archery range here to try and pressure Red's economy. And if Red's not careful, he's going to lose a villager there. Ooh. Oh, man, if Blue had been paying attention, he could have got a free villager kill. Oh, he still is going to get it. Yep. And is actually building a mill to collect berries over here. It's kind of a ballsy move. I mean, you look at the score, and he's 800, almost 900 points ahead. And probably feeling pretty good about himself right now. Red's got some knights queued up. He did get an additional town center up as well. But the majority of his farming economy is going to be around the folkworks, which give you that 10% of your farm's food income as soon as you build it around the folkwork, as long as it's immediately around it. The knights coming in here don't have all the upgrades yet. Actually, yeah, needs some attack upgrades. Has some armor upgrades. Blue moves back to make it harder for Red to kill him. These knights are actually doing pretty well cleaning up these crossbows. I don't think Blue committed to that enough. There was definitely not enough military there. And you go back to Blue's point of view, and he has a ton of wood and a ton of gold in the bank. So there's really no reason why he doesn't have a larger army. He's got 3 archery ranges. He should have a ball of crossbows here. Getting the stone mining upgrade. Probably thinking he wants to get a castle. And he's finally adding some farms. Like I said, the fish is really getting cleaned up here. There's a good bit of fish on this map, but it's not endless. It's not, you know, just everywhere. So getting water control was huge at the beginning, but you really need to transition to farms if you want to continue to build your economy, especially when you're facing a Polish economy like he is. And a third TC now for Big D. No one's come over to this top island yet. And a TC over here. I like that from Blue. Stretch it out a little bit. If you get pressured here, you'd have another TC over there. And adding an outpost here, but it's relatively close to the shoreline. So I'm not sure how much additional, or to other buildings, I'm not sure how much additional line of sight that's going to be providing. And finally getting a castle up. Adding in multiple barracks. He did lose the barrack over here. Got thumb ring up research done, so he's probably going to be amassing crossbows at some point. I really don't see any yet after those initial crossbows got cleaned up. And let's check the villager count. The villager count is 80 to 63. Obviously, a lot of those are fishing ships, but it's a pretty big difference in favor of Blue. Still just one castle. Adding in more folkworks. You know, I love the folkworks and I love the benefit that they come with. But just the fact that the farms fit perfectly around them as well is just... it appeals to my inner OCD, which I probably don't have, but I just like to say that. And here come quite a few knights. It looks like 14 knights. Unfortunately, running into castle fire if they're not careful here. There is one pike. I really don't understand why Blue hasn't created more military units. He has had plenty of resources in the bank. And getting those couple of houses up there real quick actually turned out super clutch, preventing Red from having an opportunity to go anywhere into the base. And he decides he's going to pull back. Might as well garrison them inside your castle to heal them up a little bit. Or not. Either way. The score is actually relatively even. 42 to 4,000. Despite the fact that Blue has quite the economy lead. I'm not sure what the next step is going to be. So the stone over here has been collected. And he could drop another castle if he gets 4 more stone. Interestingly, not taking either of these elephants. I guess he's just not concerned about it. And he's really devoting a ton of resources into economy and really not a whole lot into military. Just has a few pikes. Oh, he's going to imp. He's almost in imp here now. Red is still in castle. He's got wheelbarrow going, getting the second attack upgrade, getting obuk and armor upgrade as well. And Blue is an imp. So, when you're an imp, like I've said before, you should have a plan. We're going to have to see what Blue's plan is. Whether it's going to be trebs to try and take down that castle, or just a lot of military. But you should always have a plan. That's a lot of villagers on gold. He had 1488. Whoopsie. At 1540 now, gold. But not a lot of crossbows. Like, he got the crossbow upgrades and has 2 crossbows. There we go. Getting a treb out, though. I like that. It's been a little bit of a stalemate after that initial conflict. Okay, Halberdier upgrade is in, and 2 trebuchets. I really feel like he probably should get some more military, because that's a lot of knights, and these obuk are going to do pretty well. They're not the best against Halbs, because once again they excel against units with a lot of armor, and Halbs don't have a ton of armor. But they can still do a pretty decent job cleaning up the Haubs. And blue really needs to keep all his military together. He has so many resources in the bank. If you need to, sell some stone to get more gold. I don't like the fact that he's walking these arbs forward without hardly any Haub support. The rest of his Haubs are back here. That just seems like a mistake there. And red is an imp now, which is not going to be good for blue whenever red gets the Cavalier upgrade, as I assume he will. And just booming like a madman over here. Blue actually came over to here as well. So he's on all 3 islands now. Red has a knight over here, but nothing else. Still adding in more folkworks for a super efficient and instant food income. And sending the troops forward again. This knight's coming over here trying to get some free kills while blue's distracted. Does get one, actually. 2. Will blue react? There you go. There you go. Now red should pull it away. Oh no. He's not going to. Well, he got 2 villagers and cost some idle eco time, so not the worst. And here comes that Cavalier upgrade I was talking about. And that castle does go down, so now if blue has a big enough army, he could just punch straight in. Red's trying to get another defensive castle further back. Red has a lot more military than blue, though. And if he's not careful, he's going to lose all his trebs. Oh, those trebs are so expensive. Ugh. Really, blue has no excuse. He needs to be prioritizing military. Get your villagers off of stone. Add in some more farms. You got plenty of wood in the bank. And pump out some more Haubs. A lot of idols. 14 idols right now. 18 idols. Yeah, red has 0 idols right now. You know, having more villagers is great. If they're idle, they're as good as not existing at that moment. But it's 134 to 116. Blue might actually have overboomed a little bit on the economy side. I've done that plenty of times too, so I know what it's like. But and he's throwing away these arbalists. You have to keep arbalists grouped together, and preferably with a meat shield of Haubs against Cavalier. Otherwise, it's just a rather expensive unit just down the drain for almost nothing. And it looks like red actually got 1 militia here on accident, probably. I'm assuming that was a misclick. And red coming up here to take some gold from here. I wonder if blue can see that. Blue does not. He actually just wants to drop a defensive castle, I'm assuming. Maybe he anticipates red trying to come out here to collect more resources. And actually has 12 Haubs over here. I wish we could get more Haubs up over here. Could really pressure things. And red is getting out his own trebs now. Blue's still collecting fish. It's so far away. At this point, it might be better just to build some fish traps next to your dock, just to have more on food. And he's got so much food in the bank. 3,000 wood, over 1,000 food, almost 1,000 gold. I don't understand why more units are not being created and created pronto. You know, you have 142 villagers. You know, the population, like I said, is capped at 200. So if you're fighting with a 200 cap space, you should probably have anywhere from 100 to 120 villagers. When you start going to 143 villagers, as he is right now, and I understand some of our fishing ships, when you go into that, you might have all the economy in the world, but you may not be able to take very good, efficient fights because you don't have enough military. So, and that villager count's still rising, 145 villagers. So I think blue is definitely overboomed. That's going to hurt him. Red going into the winged hussars as well. I think that's a great unit to use. You don't have to worry about blowing a bunch of gold. And they trade well against arbs and are great for raiding if you can get past this house wall. These tanky cheap Cavalier are really doing a good job. Maybe they can snipe with these trebs from blue as well. There's one down. An additional red treb is on its way. Over here, both players have castles, actually. And blue is aware of red's castle. Gets a treb out first. wants to take out this castle. Red is not building a trib at this time, has not responded, has no military over here, so that could be really bad. He's actually creating elite obush, or obuk. This castle looks like it's going to go down though, even with the Byzantines' extra hit points. And those overboomed villagers, he still has 140 villagers. That castle goes down. And I think blue is really good at the macro side of things as far as the economy goes. But his inability to create and maintain and properly place and use an army has really hurt him so far. Red's done a much better job managing his units, managing his army composition, and getting the most bang for his buck out of his units. I feel like blue's really thrown away a lot of units. This castle does go down though, and now red is being forced off of gold. This TC is going to go down too if he doesn't respond quickly, and he has nothing around here that could really do much of anything except for Betsy the cow, and all she's going to do is be used for celebratory burgers after the TC goes down and the villagers are dead. Sorry, Betsy. We love you. At least we love how you taste. Anyway, moving back here, this castle is getting pushed, and this huge booming economy that the Byzantine player had is just going down the toilet. This powerful red Polish military is just pushing straight in, punching straight in. There's nothing. Like he's trickling these units in too slowly, not grouping them together, not using them effectively. And this composition from red of Cavalier, Winged Hussars, and Obush, which are actually elite Obuk now, are just it's too much. It's punching straight through blue, and I don't think blue's going to survive this, even with his miniature bases and these other islands, and pushing red off gold over here. If you lose your main base, that just may be too much. And red actually losing some villagers. He had 117 at one point. He's down to 99. Blue is losing a lot of villagers too. I just watched him go from 140 to 135 and dropping. Yeah, I think he should have evacuated these villagers from this base. If he wanted to keep on fighting, evacuate them over to here and try and wall up and delay, and then maybe launch a counter attack over here. But if he's not careful, he's just going to lose this army to castle fire. He needs to get his tribs over here to try and push this castle. Red still has 2 defensive castles for his home base. And so far, this is not looking too good. This town center will go down. These villagers are now exposed. And I think at this point, it is GG. Still has 18 more villagers than red, but I think this is GG. His military count is 24. There we go. To 90. And blue calls the GG, and I think that's ultimately what cost blue the game, was just not having enough military and not having the right unit composition and being able to micro them the way to get the most bang for your buck out of them. So good job to red. That was a great game. Fantastic attacks there. You know, sometimes you have to realize that you might lose more by over investing into water to try and take it back than you would if you just boom on land, especially if you have an economy that does really well on land, like Poles or even like Vikings and stuff like that. Teutons, you can just survive on land and let them take the water, because, you know, ultimately blue is over here with these super inefficient fishing ships, and so it may have actually hurt them. Anyway, guys, hopefully you enjoyed it, and we'll catch you guys next time.